Hey guys, so we are back. Here's Lazar. He is talking to his team. I don't know what they're doing, but Lazar is he probably cannot see me. Whatever. Anyways, so let's get back to our amazing guest. So I would like to welcome Yael and her co-founder Michal. Hi, how
Hi.
are you? How are
Hello.
you doing? Thank you so much for coming on our crazy Big Brother Amazon live stream.
Have
Our
you not
pleasure.
slept for 25 hours? Are you okay?
I've slept. I've slept, but this morning I made like a little, I went and checked on the team and all the offices, and I was filming like a Lazar's little bed here, so he kind of spent the night here because you never know what's gonna go wrong. No, but the team works in shifts, so they work like 8-hour shifts, so we're not. We're
You're
not
okay.
holding any people here. So no. I went home. I mean, it's very intense, but we do get to get some like couple of hours of sleep. I had to put on some makeup in order to just look as
A lot of coffee. A lot of coffee.
a lot of
Look,
coffee. Yes, a lot of coffee.
look,
I'm chugging on this. Like I have like 4 different mugs, and
look
so.
very much awake.
Yeah, yes, pretty much. I am ready.
Yeah.
Ready. Yeah. So thank you so much for taking time to come over. As I said yesterday, I'm very happy, and it's a great honor to co-host something like that. This there's never been done before, and to bring on some super awesome guests. And then Lazar asked me if I could bring on some women girl power on, and I just decided to invite some people that I really think that could share a lot of really good insight. And so thank you so much for coming over. I know, Yael, I didn't know exactly how to present you guys because I know you have so many different businesses. So can you tell us something about yourself, what you do, and why you're so successful and amazing? So Yael, please go ahead.
So today we're gonna talk about exits. So that's my second hat as one of the co-founders of Fortunate. Fortunate is an investment banking firm that deals with the sale of Amazon businesses. So we basically help sellers selling their business from the beginning when they decide or they're considering selling the business. We prepare the financials, the marketing materials. We find a buyer, and we really escort them from A to Z. We focus on mid to large businesses. So that's Fortunate. You're going to hear about it from Michal as well, who's the CEO. I'm also founder of Cabilly, which is a law firm that deals with e-commerce law. So we talked a lot about patents and trademark, but that would be another presentation. Today we'll focus on exits.
Okay, perfect. And Michal, can you tell us something about yourself?
Yes, sure. So as Yael mentioned, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Fortunate. This is, again, an investment banking firm. Our goal is to accompany sellers when they want to sell their business. We're a team of 10 people, of experts in M&A, Amazon management, Amazon business management, financials, legal, including Yael. And that's in short. I'm also originally a lawyer, but I'm not functioning as such in Fortunate. So this is not.
Cool. Thank you. Are you both based in Israel, right?
Yeah. We're both in Israel, Tel Aviv.
Nice. Tel Aviv, that's a place where I really want to go. I've heard so many amazing stories about it, and it's a very vibrant city. My aunt also lived there for like 15 years. So definitely when all this is over, I also talk about to Yael about this topic. Definitely a place you want to visit in your life for sure. So
we're waiting for you to come right after COVID.
Me too. I just can't wait to just go somewhere and not think about wearing, a mask and stuff. These guys have been working, 8-hour shift, but when you sit and when you have your mask on for 8 hours, it's just it's just too much, you know. So, I mean, at one point you're just like, you're so sick of it, you know, which is completely understandable. Yeah. So tell me, guys, so it's a very interesting topic, you know, like a lot of people really want to sell on Amazon and be super successful. And, you know, like once you get to be like a really successful business owner, let's say 7, 8, 9 figures, like why in the world would you sell your business if you're enjoying it? You know, a lot of people, I think they don't understand maybe why should I do it? And then maybe they decide to do it when it's too late and they could have, you know, done much better. So can you tell me what is it your what's your opinion about that? Michal, you can go first.
So you know, it's a great question and a bit of a philosophical question.
Exactly.
It depends on your risk tendency profile. What are your goals in life? How do you see yourself? And it is connected also to the constant need to grow the business on Amazon. It is clear to anyone that in order to stay in the same place, you need to grow at least at a certain pace. And there is always the fear that you may touch a glass ceiling and not be able to grow the business further, and then you will start losing value. It's one thing to take a business from 0 to 1, 2, 3, $10 million of revenue, and here it's a personal and a bit of luck. And it's another thing to take it to the next level. You need to build the whole organization around it to be ready for different challenges. And there comes the question on whether this is the right time to exit. Of course, so this is about risk mitigation. If you want to make sure that the value that you've created is someday lies safely in your pocket, then you may consider to exit the business. We also see other considerations that lead sellers to take this path. So apart from the general fear that they may not keep on being so successful, some of them feel that they are very good at building brands and they were successful in bringing it to a certain stage, and now they can sell the business and start all over again. Others are partners that do not get along so well together and believe that selling the business instead of fighting over managing it, this is the right solutions. So different considerations that lead to this decision. Maybe Yael, you want to add some more?
Yeah, I think that, you know, if we look at all our clients and what's the common reason for selling the business, you know, a lot of them we all sell on Amazon. We all know Amazon and, you know, how hard it is to maintain an account at Amazon. And you know, they've reached a point where they're really good at what they're doing. And they're thinking, okay, I've built something. It's not worth $5 million. I can go ahead and, you know, continue growing, and then I'll have, as Michal said, I'll have to build a team and I have to move to offices and start being like a large manager, or I can cash out now and, you know, take whatever I've built so far and then rebuild another brand. And what's interesting is that we see, you know, some of the businesses we sold even a year and a half ago or 2 years ago or 3 are now, you know, are almost at their second exit. They're, you know, the second time they're really fast. They have more money, they have more experience. So it's like the first time on turbo. So you know, I think if we look at most of the clients, the main reason is really cashing out, de-risking, as Michal said, you know, getting what they got so far and continue from there and rebuilding a brand. And that works really well with the buyers who are looking to basically save time, to buy something that's already successful instead of building something from scratch. So, you know, so there are the buyers who are ready to buy and sellers are ready to cash out, especially lately.
Right. And my question to you is like, you work with a lot of different business owners. And so when they decide to sell their business, they come to you and they have some, you know, idea of how this should look like and how much money they would get. And so how hard it is to actually, work with business owners who want to sell their business? Like, is it all like, milk and honey, or do you sometimes like, some people can be really, difficult to handle? They're just like, no, I want this. And this is what I had in mind, especially when they are doing this for the first time. So what's your experience in like working with people who come to you? Like, do you have like usually positive experience, or just like, it can be really, really difficult, Yael, you can, or Michal, whatever.
I'll start. Yeah, I'm sure. I know what Yael is going to say, so I'm sure that. For us, it's each such an opportunity. It's a gift. It's a great opportunity for us to accompany a seller in such a major event in their life. Of course, there are different characters and different set of expectations, but in all the cases, absolutely all the cases, we become their best friends. We are their most intimate consigliere all around the process. And they learn to rely upon us. This is our role. I mean, to wrap them and to answer all their needs during this process, which sometimes can be a bit difficult, a bit frustrating. We come with a very broad perspective to this event. So it's like we can guide them, we can hold them in their hand and take them in a route that we are so familiar with already. And by this, we feel that our experience is so much valuable. So it's a great alliances. We usually we stay, not less than friends. Not to say that our, best ambassadors and recommenders, referrals are sellers who went, through the process with us. So it's a celebration. The process eventually, when it ends, even if it was, there are very smooth and easy processes and others that are more challenging. But always it ends up in a celebration, and we like to celebrate it. And it's really an enjoyable work.
It's hard now that we can't celebrate over champagne.
Yeah,
I know.
That's what we usually do. But as Michal said, I think every time at the end of the process, since we've been talking every day for a few months and we become very close, every time it ends, we feel like some kind of void, like where's the person, why am I not talking to? So for a while we're still very close, and with some of them we hope to work in the future. Many of them will probably see again in a year and a half or something, or 2 years. It's we try to, although it's stressful sometimes, as Michal said, and when you're at the end of the process and you have to do all the due diligence and go through all the documents, and there's always a question and always something in the process. We try to have fun and finish it as best as we can.
That's so amazing. I just asked this question because I'm sorry, just because it's everybody when you talk about like exiting your business, it's just like you come here to these people, they just gonna get rid of your business, they give you money, but it's more than that. It's actually building a really good relationship with someone, guiding them through the process. You become basically part of their very intimate circle of family and friends in this like a couple of months, and then after that it's just like there, as you said, like there's a void, like somebody's missing. And I don't think that people think of like exiting their business as being such an intimate thing, and building relationship with someone who's helping you out with that. And I just think that's absolutely beautiful, because you just build trust and relationship, and it's different than if you're any other sort of service provider, because you have clients, they use your service, and that's it. There's no like a human touch to that as it is that much in your case. And I just think that's just absolutely great. Sorry, Michal, you were going to say something.
I just to give a little bit more flavor to what we said. Part of it's about, first of all, it's about being professional, because we need to know how to prepare, to tell the story correctly, and to make sure that the business gets its highest valuation, and its process is handled very in a very accurate and professional manner, but at the same time, there are so many personal issues that comes up, issues between partners, personal considerations that create some, consideration that relates to timing of the process. So for sure, we see ourselves also as mental support, mentally supporting the process, and it provides a huge satisfaction when we're successful at that.
Yeah, I imagine. I think it's a very satisfying for both sides, and I just think that, after you're done, when you celebrate and everything, it's all like these small, little things that actually, they bring something really special, like as a whole unique experience. And I just think that's great. And I would just kind of think that, a lot of people would not think about that. And I just think also that's kind of very important, and especially when you're like an online entrepreneur and stuff like that, you don't actually get like that much engaging with other people or like services use, like especially if you're a seller, maybe your team. But I think this can be like a really like a different side to this business. Of course, it's a very professional service and nobody's going to babysit you, but I'm just saying that I think having like this personal and human touch, like when doing something like that, because a lot of people think, business as their baby, as their child. So they don't want to, give it in like raw hands or somebody who's just going to be just like, just basically, you don't want somebody who's going to treat like it's an inanimate object. And that's basically it. Cool.
Right.
Yeah. So when talking about like, as I said, like somebody comes to you and they're like, I know how much my business is worth, and maybe they're not happy with to hear how much they're actually worth, how much money they'll actually get. Like, how do you guys evaluate a business? Like, how does that go?
Yeah.
You can go.
So there's the standard in the industry. At the end, we think that a business is worth what the market is willing to pay for it. So our role is always to make sure that all the market has seen the business, all the relevant buyers have seen the business, so that we get the right valuation. The way to calculate it roughly as a rule of thumb is that you take the profit for the last 12 months and you apply to that profit a multiple of 3 to 5, depending on the size of the business, of course, and how well it's operating. Now, the profit, the way you calculate it is that you take the revenue, you take the sales. For example, you have sales of $4 million in the last 12 months. So you take that revenue and you retract all of Amazon's fees, you retract the PPC, and you retract the cost of goods and shipping. And then finally, the expenses that are directly related to the business, such as Helium 10 or Seller's Alley or any other software that's related directly to the business. So you have that profit for the last 12 months. And you apply to that profit the multiple of 3 to 5, and then you add to that the value of the inventory. So the buyer pays you back for the inventory. That's the way it's usually calculated. And again, really depends of the business we're looking at and their circumstances. For example, buyers are looking at how many reviews you have, how well they are, of course, the rating you're having, if you have patents, how long you've been operating, all those kinds of circumstances and factors that they take into account when they're evaluating the business.
Mm-hmm. I understand. And what are they actually buying? Like, are they buying like an account? Are they buying like the whole, I don't know, like private label business? Like, how does that work? I mean,
Yes.
Selling. Are they selling an account or are they selling a business or, yeah?
So they usually, just to add one sentence to what to the previous question, if that's okay. This is
sure.
non-polite. So in addition to what Yael said, which was all accurate, of course there are exceptional cases. where it makes sense not to take the full the last 12 months, but maybe the last 6 months as a baseline for the calculation of the value in cases that there is a huge change in the business performance in the last 6 months compared to the previous period. And also, it's not only, and of course, in the we may find lower or higher multiples than the average that Yael mentioned, according to the specific performance of the businesses. And another thing is that it is not only about multiples and valuation. Deal structure is also something very important, because many times if deal is structured right, it actually embodies another valuation. So you can tap. You can enjoy from a double dip in the sale process. In some cases, if a deal is structured right. And as for your question about what is being sold, so usually these are assets deals. So it means that not the company that runs the business is being sold, but rather the assets themselves, which are the Amazon account, the trademark, the domain name, the contact with suppliers. If you have a Shopify, a Shopify website, Walmart account, etc. So each and every asset is being transferred and migrated to the buyer from the seller.
Mm-hmm. I understand. Yeah, I was always very interested in this topic because I know like generally how this goes, but I think it's very interesting to kind of go a little bit in depth because, maybe people think just gonna go there and there are like so many layers and things to that. For instance, like what happens like when you have, let's say a significant spike in sales, like does that count or not? Like how does that work? Who wants to take this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to take it?
I mean, we've seen actually COVID is a really good example. We've seen we started the periods of COVID, by the way, like 2 transactions were canceled. Some of them were already signed, and then what happened is really a kind of boom in the industry. Like those 2 transactions were sold a month or 2 months later, 30% higher. And then we saw a lot of buyers coming in. There are a lot of eyes lately on the e-commerce industry. So we see, 3-4 buyers per day that are looking at new businesses and are looking for FBA businesses. So, to answer your question, we've seen spikes during the COVID. The COVID has really affected the sales for some of the, of the businesses. Some of them really declined because they were selling something related to travel, for example. And for some, there was a serious spike. And what we do, it depends of, we're trying to understand if these are long-term assets or not. That's a bit complicated, but what I'm saying is that, when COVID, when there's a very big spike and then it goes down, to what's happening today, then that's momentarily and that's, that's not something that's probably going to continue. But when the spike has created something that the buyer will get for the future, for example, because of that spike, there are, the listing had only 10 reviews and now it's a listing with 250 reviews. So it's generating more sales, and that's an asset that the buyer actually gets. So, it was a spike. It seems that COVID is here to stay for the moment. It's not going anywhere. So, so the situation is kind of, everybody is kind of adapting to what's happening, and trying to evaluate and understand.
Stop selling office supplies.
Office supplies, it depends which ones. Some of them are actually selling. Let's say maybe travel is not the best,
niche,
things for the plane, or these are not the best things to sell right now. But to answer your question, there are many structures available, not just a multiple on the profit, and that's it. We can use the earnout. We can use other types of transactions that take into consideration that spike, and to help us evaluating the business. Michal, do you want to add something?
Yeah, so if we touch the COVID-19 impact, so of course this is a big question. We see that it impacts everyone lives. I'm sitting now at home. I didn't get out from this room for a while.
Me neither.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, we need office equipment here because it became also the office. But the longer the impact of COVID-19 on e-commerce, there is no need to add any words about that. It is all clear. But it seems that the longer COVID-19 lasts, the more constant the impact would be. So because it impacts the consumer behaviors. And when you combine this, when looking at evergreen products, for example, that enjoy from a prosperity during this period, you are less skeptic about the ability to maintain the same or similar level of performance for the long term. So it also depends on the product themselves. And of course, when for other businesses with more unique products, when there is some requirement to prudency from the part of buyers, then the right structure can answer it with some payments over time. But again, it's all depends on a case-by-case basis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. I mean, that really answers the question. I mean, it's not that simple, and it just depends on so many other factors and basically type of businesses and what you sell. Especially, COVID has, of course, affected everybody's lives. And I remember, we as a translation service that helps people expand to international markets, April was the worst month ever, and we were just well, I guess at this point nobody will be expanding anywhere for the time being. But then literally things changed, and 15 days later everything was upside down, honestly. And I don't know, I know COVID has affected our lives negatively, but I also think COVID has affected us positively in different ways. People spending more time with their families and working from home. And, there are some other positive options that are open, especially e-commerce is blooming, and especially the Amazon sales. I mean, I don't know, whoever had was selling masks and disinfection, I don't know what their horoscope said, but, previously, one day you will hit it big, there was just some insane things really happened actually, and still happening this year. But when somebody comes and talks to you guys, for the first time and wants to sell the business, and maybe, I suppose that a lot of people don't have a lot of experience with that, and it's their first time, and there are probably tons of mistakes that they do, probably some wrong steps, and they can probably learn from their mistakes. Do you point out to these mistakes what they did wrong? Yeah. So when they come back in a year, it's a completely different story, and they can make an exit much successfully. What's your experience with that? With mistakes and what people do?
Yeah, we actually try to prevent them when we start the process. So, our role is really to guide the seller from the beginning. So, for example, one of the things we saw is that some sellers are not really ready in terms of taxes. For example, we had a case where the seller, got an offer, and then it took him, and then when he got the offer, which was very, very good, he said, okay, let me check with my tax attorney and see how much I have left after the sale. And then, I kind of disappeared for a month, and he lost that deal. So it's very, very important to be ready with the taxes before you start the process, or at the beginning of the process, go and speak with your CPA, with tax attorneys to understand how exactly this deal is going to look like. And another thing that we see and we try to prevent, that's sometimes where my legal hat comes in. As an IP lawyer, I always look at the intellectual property. So when we see that something's missing, for example, a trademark in China, if you manufacture in China, it's a very good idea to protect the trademark there, because we've seen a lot of hijackers kind of stealing the trademarks in China, and then they can
the sellers have no idea about it.
No. And then they can prevent, if they do hijack your trademark, they can prevent exporting the products from China to the US. So sometimes we stress that, and we make sure that everything is in order there. So it's very important to remember that. I think that one of the another mistake that we see sometimes, and we really prevent from the beginning, is really to be in the mode. So you're going to sell the business, right? But it's very important that the business keeps growing, because nobody wants to buy a declining business. Now, if you're in the mode of selling the business, we've seen sellers kind of laying back and launching less products and just leaving it the way it is and just maintaining the account. It's very, very important to work as if you're not selling the business, because if you're laid back and you're not doing anything, the business will look like that. The business can start declining, and that's a disaster, because in some cases you just can't sell the business. We had cases where we had to wait another year because of what happened to the business. So it's very important to be in that mode. Let us take care of the sale, and you take care of selling on Amazon as if you're not selling the business.
Right. So when somebody comes and he's like, I want to sell my business, and you will tell them, now it's not the right time. Let's take care of you. Let's fix everything what's wrong, and then we are preparing you for an exit, right? And it can take I don't know, how much does it take? Like when somebody comes to you and they're like, I want to sell my business, and you're like, you're not ready, but we'll take care of this. Like, how long does that take? That's preparation from somebody's like not ready to sell the business to, yes, you're ready, let's do it. How long is that?
Most of the sellers we represent, since we're focusing on mid to large businesses, they're very talented. They know what they're doing. So in most cases, we won't stop the process because of a trademark or because of the taxes. Usually it takes us about a month to prepare all the financials and all the presentation and the deck and get ready to sell the business and go to market. During that time, that's a lot of time to take care of of the last things, like if your trademark is not registered there, you can do it. Not having a trademark in the US is a problem. So that can stop because buyers, a trademark in the US is one of the most important things. What you're selling is your trademark and your listing and the reviews. So that can stop the deal. Sometimes patent issues can stop the deal. So if you have if you're infringing a patent, then you need to fix that, because nobody will buy a business that's infringing. So these are things that stop the process. But in most cases, I think 95% of the cases, right, Michal? We start and we fix the things as we go, and we make sure everything's ready, and and we kind of coach you to take care of the taxes and take care of this and take care of that.
No, yeah, I agree. So the general, cleanups and preparation, we can instruct and how to do that and take care of all of this in a very short period of time. There are some cases where we have decided together with the sellers to wait. So for example, we have 2 sellers that we are accompanying now for almost a year. During which period we accompany them, we prepare their P&L almost a year ago, and then we update their P&Ls each and every month, and they get a very immediate insight into their ongoing insight into their business on a monthly basis, which is very helpful. In one of the cases, we were able to recommend on certain activities that can improve the results of the business, and actually led to a huge impact on the profitability, which raised in this case, I think, from 19% to 26%.
Wow.
So again, we have sufficient expertise within our team, and a lot of and a broad perspective that we can use in order to recommend on improving actions. But other than that, this what Yael mentioned is correct. Usually sellers are ready. When they come to us, they know that they are more or less ready to sell their business. Sometimes we do decide to wait another quarter and then to run through a process with them, which is very helpful. If we find it very helpful to start the process a bit earlier before getting out to the market, and then we just take it to sell. But also to add about your question about typical mistakes, maybe it's worth mentioning black hat tactics and transparency, which are cousins. So black hat tactics, it's, every seller is, owns the business and decides how to run it according to his judgment. Of course, it's all a matter of risk reward management, because as much as you take more of such tactics, you create a higher risk to your business. No question that you shouldn't start with anything like that, just to welcome the expected sale of the business with some anticipation to improve some of the parameters of the business. This is not the right thing to do. Buyers are not, sellers are very smart, as Yael mentioned. Buyers are not less smart, and they are experienced, and they can identify, and if we identify those tactics, this is something which is taken into consideration, because it just poses a risk to the business. If a buyer buys a business with a risk that there will be a major scrapping of reviews, for example, then the reviews amount, they are worth less. Or maybe it endangers the total shutdown of the account. This is a huge risk that buyers would not want to take. So this is something to consider. And transparency is also a very important rule. When the seller decides to take the move of exit, he should be prepared to transparently disclose anything which is relevant. Things are coming always, everything is coming up eventually. During the due diligence, there shouldn't be any surprises. So you need to pick your consultant, one that you can rely upon and work very closely with towards the successful sale of your business. But then you need to disclose everything to your consultant to make sure that everything is addressed in advance and no surprises come at the end. Maybe one more thing is, I don't think that if we're talking about mistakes, I don't think that, a few months before the sale of the business, it's the right time to go to new adventures. So if you didn't run your Shopify store until now, don't start just because you want to sell the business. It's just a waste of time and focus. It will not bring additional value to your business. Don't do that. If you don't, if your ongoing busy course of business doesn't include usual launch of new products, don't start doing it just because you want to sell the business. Keep on doing what you're good at. This is very important. Make sure that the business is managed as you would have managed it, unless without selling it. This is the most important rule.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting. Yeah, I think a lot of people would not, share that same opinion with you. But just like, what else can I do, to pump it up, just before I sell? And it's very interesting. You actually have to be very consistent with your business. So whatever you're doing, just don't change it if it's working. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually. Usually. Go ahead, Michal.
Go ahead, Michal.
There is a fine line between cleaning up the business, making some improvement which is very clear and not risky, and sometimes we can point on such required improvement, and between doing something really different that creates a lot of risk that you do not have the expertise in doing it. This is a fine line that you shouldn't cross.
Mm-hmm. I understand. Yael, did you want to add something to this?
Yeah, I mean, I was saying that going back to what Michal was saying, we sometimes usually this doesn't end up so well. So if you're very good at selling on Amazon US and you're very good at launching new variations, and now just because you heard from a friend that having a Shopify account and selling on your e-commerce business brings you a better valuation, and that's not a good reason to start Shopify if you have no idea what you're doing and you have no experience on PPC and Google and SEO. What you may end up doing is to lose sales on Amazon because you're focused on something else now, and then lose profit because you spend a lot of money trying to launch that Shopify account. If you were to do it anyway, and that was your plan, and this is what you plan to do because because you're thinking ahead, etc., then do it. But if you're doing that just for the sake of, as you're saying, pumping up the account, then usually it doesn't end very well. That's our experience, at least.
Interesting. But how do you maximize your value? So this is a major no-no, obviously. But what else can you do to maximize the value of your business?
Yeah.
So, you want to take it? Yeah.
I mean, I'll just start by, I think that one of the most important parts of maximizing it is thinking when to sell the business. That's what one of the most important questions. And we always start the process with looking at the business, analyzing the trends, looking at each product, how fast it's growing, or if it's declining, or what's going on in the business. And I think that over 50% of the cases, right, we say don't sell it now. That now is not the best time. So sometimes it's because it's before Q4, and we know on Q4 you're going to grow significantly. So we're going to advise you to wait until January. Right now we have 4 accounts waiting for January, and sometimes we see that the account is not doing so well, maybe because of COVID, and the account is kind of declining. So so we work together on improving the account and getting it back to the way it was, and then selling the business. So I think that when we're talking about maximizing, probably the timing is one of the most important things. And another thing that I find important is your P&L. Preparing the P&L, the profit and loss report. We always laugh that it's the first step of the negotiation. It's very important to build it in a smart way. For example, if a seller was suspended for a month, okay, or did not order inventory for a month just because he did not have the cash flow, okay, so. So this created delays, and it wasn't selling for that month. So his whole profit went down, right? So if you're looking at the last 12 months, if you include that, then the value would be lower. So you're trying, when you're building the P&L, you need to make sure you covered everything, and everything is maximized, as you're saying, and make sure you feel comfortable with your position. We very often take a position when it's related to things that have been missed. So preparing the P&L, if you're doing it, make sure that you've consulted. If you don't know how to do it, make sure you consulted with someone who knows and who can maximize it, and not we've seen sellers giving it to their accountant, and the report looks different than the regular SD, the profit that you usually see in the industry, or let buyers make the P&L for you. So the P&L is, I think, one of the most important parts. Michal, you want to add to that?
Yeah. So it's the P&L and the whole storytelling. You have a business. You know what are the advantages and disadvantages. You know how it is prepared for the position for the future. So you should be the one with the help of a good consultant who tells the business story of your business. Actually, don't wait for others to evaluate you, because you are able to point out on certain keywords that you are leading at. There is always something to explain, something that you can describe better in order to show the big picture. So this is very important to make this analysis up front, and the P&L is part of it. The P&L, of course, should always be accurate. I mean, when we prepare the P&L, we don't miss anything there, but we make sure that things are being classified right, or if we think that some components should be addressed in a certain manner, so we take this position out loud. I mean, we don't hide anything, but at least we start with a position that shows how we see the business. So this is one thing which is very important. Another thing which is very important to make sure that you get the best value that you can is to make sure that you are tapping the whole market. This is a highly dynamic market. I mean, every two or 3 weeks, we can describe the market a bit differently. Multiples are changing, buyers' dynamic is different, sellers' dynamic is different. So it is, and it's not like there is a public registry of any deal that have closed until yesterday. So the only way for you to know how much your business is worth in a certain time is to really make sure that you are addressing the whole market. And ideally, you should create a kind of an auction, not a public auction, but a behind the scene auction. Create some competition over your business. So for example, what we do, we address as many potential buyers as we can. We do not address buyers which are not potential buyers. If this is a buyer that your business is not relevant for them, don't waste your time and don't expose your business to them. But if you can identify who are the relevant buyers, you should make sure that at the same time they all have access to the business, and this way you can create a negotiation and a discussion over the value of your business at the same time with different buyers. You get an immediate feedback from all the market. You're able to discuss with everyone based on the feedbacks that you get from others, and this way you can get to the best result you can. So I think that, to sum it up, this is the most important thing: preparing your story, telling your story well, and then making sure that you are communicating with the relevant part of the market to your business. That's
perfect.
And enjoy and smile. Keep on smiling. Because this is
and I mean, when talking about this year, I mean, the crazy stuff happening, like, have you seen the tendency of people, buyers buying more accounts or businesses or less than like previously?
Yeah, to say that buyers buy more, it's an understatement. I think that, with the prosperity in the e-commerce arena and the Amazon sellers in particular, we see more and more money, investors' money addressed to this market. And with that, we see multiple buyers joining the game on a daily basis. Part of them are very, very skilled buyers with deep pockets and lots of experience. So the market is, I think it's a bit similar, Yana, to what you described that you had in your business. So we too. We felt, as Yael said at the beginning, 2 weeks of not knowing where we were going to, and then boom.
Yeah.
This is where we are now.
Yeah, and I think also a lot of people, like I was just talking to Egle, and I just told her, like, like I got this LinkedIn message from a pilot, asking me, like, I want to start my business, like, where do I go, like, do I buy a business, stuff like that. So I think that a lot of people who maybe like have their savings meant for some other things would just go and buy accounts because it's they just see such a great potential in that. I mean, this year is all about being online and who's in e-commerce and who's not. But who are actually like the buyers? Like who are the most often buyers? I mean, I understand that this year, I think the variety of them is like it's bigger variety than ever, I think, because as I said, I think a lot of people want to get into e-commerce this way. But who are usually the buyers that want to buy accounts? Yeah, you can maybe take this one.
Yeah. So as you said, there's a big variety, especially during this year. So I guess that the most typical one are what they call institutional. So these are companies that have raised a lot of money to just purchase accounts, just like Thresio or other companies of the like. So they usually act very fast, and they purchase a lot of accounts. Then we see family offices, we see VCs, we see companies that are selling on Amazon. For example, one of the top 50 sellers on Amazon that has a private label and wants to expand to other areas, so they started purchasing accounts, and we even see since COVID, we even see people from other industries that are understanding that e-commerce is the place to be. So, for example, we have, hotel owners that their business is kind of dying, and they're looking at other directions, or people that read a lot and understand that e-commerce again is booming. So they want to invest money, so they kind of join. They're an investor joining an agency. So the investor puts money, and then the agency kind of takes the lead on the management of the account. So all kinds of buyers, I guess, and I think this year has been the most interesting since we started.
Definitely, yeah. Michal, would you like to add something to it, or?
No, I think that Yael described the buyers very well. I read this morning, I got some email dissemination with the phrase gradually and then suddenly. So I think that this is a very nice summary of what we have seen in the past few years. So we see a field which gradually is growing. I'm talking here, on our nice angle of this market, just the M&A, the exits. So it gradually grew and got speed, and suddenly it became something that everyone wants to do. Many buyers, understand that the chances and the prospects of success here are so high. For sellers, this is a great time to sell because they are enjoying from such short-term increase of their business. So actually they accomplished in 1 year what they could have accomplished in few years. So it's like the win-win situation for everyone. Very exciting.
Yeah, very. I mean, we're just living such an amazing time actually for, unbelievable opportunities, and you just, you should just go and grab them. Like if people are just being like holding back, like, well, what if today I maybe decide to just do it? Like now it's the best time in history to start doing something. Like start small and dream big, and then, build your way up to it. And just to wrap up, like, what is the how much time do you actually like need for the whole process? Like when you're ready to sell, I'm not talking about like the Amazon sellers, they come to you and you're not ready, and then you come back in a year. So from the moment that they're ready to make an exit, how much time do they need until they get cash on their account for their business?
Yeah, so the longer the larger the business is, the longer the cycle time may be. But in general, as a general rule, if you come to a consultant, let's say that it takes up to, I don't know, between 2 weeks to a month to prepare your material, and then you go out to buyers, and in 3 to 4 months you can be done. So that's a straightforward scenario. Of course, if you have a larger business, it may take a bit longer, but maybe half a year. But this is more or less the time.
Yeah, perfect. It's not that long, actually. It doesn't take, forever and stuff. Cool. Well, I think it's a very interesting topic for a lot of people. I mean, this stream for now has been seen by 7,500 people. So hopefully, and it's going to be like online for a long time. So hopefully people got some really cool information, and maybe, if they're not, ready to sell, or they've just started, there's some great potential in actually building your business and exiting. It can do a lot of, you can do the right thing by going to you guys and asking for help and advice. And how do people get in touch with you? Like, how can they contact you?
So, there is our website. It's Fortunet, FORTUNET.net. Our contacts are there, and we'll be more than happy, to answer any question anytime. It's our pleasure.
Perfect. Thank you so much for taking time and for coming on our little crazy live stream today. There's so much value and so much good info. Like, I think that basically whoever had a question about exiting, you've answered every single one of it. So thank you so much, Yael and Michal. I really hope I'll get to meet you in person soon. And until then, I hope to get back and chatting together with both of you also pretty soon. So
thanks for having us.
Thank you for everything you said. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye. Thank you. Likewise. Thanks. Bye.